Yes, visible.
Okay, great. So now, so here, right? So the cricket I'm talking about, okay? Right. So what happens here when people are, I mean, the players on the ground and they're hitting all the runs and four, six, and wickets, everything, right? So you must be start, right? So there are people. So what they will do, right? So they will be having systems, okay? So where they will record everything, including the commentary that people are saying, right? So maybe if you are not using your TV or something, you will be following the commentary on the mobile, right? In the quick buzz or something else, right? So at the same time, people will feed all the data into their database systems. Okay. So this is a source of the data for us actually. Okay. They'll correct everything. So data people will be there. So maybe if they're following some technologies that grabs it and push into the systems, so they'll store everything, right? And what we are seeing at the end, so it is us, okay? What we will be seeing here we called as consumers. So on the screen, what we'll be seeing, so you will be seeing some beautiful graphs, right? So maybe so like this, or maybe some charts, or there will be some text showing that so uh, the player has this much average and what is his best and how many one days or how many test matches are played actually, right? But in between, so the people are feeding the data in here and we are seeing all these analytical things on the screens. But how this is transformed from here to here, right? So this is where the data engineering comes into picture. Okay. So this is all data engineering space. Okay. So what the people will do here in data engineering, right? So we collect all this data, right? So whatever the data that we are coming into this source system, right? Basically data engineering, right? So we collect all this data from sources. So in our case, this is a cricket matches and we are reading from this cricket databases or file systems or something else. Okay. And here data engineering, right? Here we collect everything. Okay. And transform it. Okay. And this will be consumed here. Okay. But again, what is the difference? What we are doing here from here to here, right? That's our question. So basically, this field, I mean, this entire thing, right? That what I highlighted, this comes into data engineering background. So how do we collect the data and how do we transform it and how the consumers will draw all these analytical things or dashboards or everything on the consumer side, right? So basically what people will do here, right? They collect the data using two things. I mean, two ways, I would say two ways. So one is batch and the next thing is stream. Okay. So what is a batch and what is a stream? So batch nothing but so we wait, see every day. So if I take a bank, right? So every day there must be some transactions or new accounts open. There will be account closures or deposits or withdrawals, something, whatever it is, right? But end of the day, right? All the systems data, right? Whatever the data that happened or a transaction, everything happened, they will be moved into this data engineering space. That is the best. We'll move all the data at once. Okay. And then stream. What is stream? Stream nothing but it is continuous manner. Continuous. So I will say an example. Uh, see, you see wherever you see your screens are weather, right? So you always see that weather will be updating as per the recent trends. So maybe it's raining now, so you'll see immediately, so it's raining. If you do any transaction in the bank, you will be immediately getting that message. So some amount is withdrawn. So this is a stream. It's a continuous flow of the data that is incoming, and we process it on the fly and push into our systems. Okay, so these are the two ways that we collect data from the source systems. So what is the source here? So anything that originates data basically. Okay, so what we are talking here, it's a cricket basically, right? So cricket, so the people will be inputting all the data on the systems and will be grabbing it into the data engineering platform. How we are doing that? It would be a continuous manner, right? So all the data, so we wanted to generate all these trends, right? So if for that reason we'll be using stream, and if you don't want that, so if I wanted to store something at the end of the day, so we'll use batch. It's not only end of the day, so anything that comes with the intervals, maybe every 1 hour or every 2 hours, every half an hour, that comes into batch. Okay, now we have data into our system. So basically, as per the standard architecture, right? So this is divided into three places. Okay, in any good organization or something, right? So this we called as raw zone. Okay, and I'll redraw this one so that it will be very comfortable. Okay, so this is a zone one. This is again one zone, and this is once. Okay, so this one, so see, it depends on the company and the architecture they're following. So there are many names for it. So some people will call it as a raw or bronze. Okay, and the next one. So what is raw and bronze? So it means we just land the data into this one as is, whatever the format that is coming. So we'll just put it there. Okay, and now this, right, this data will be feeding into the next layer. So that is called, so if I using raw, so it must be trusted, and this is silver in other terms. Okay, and the final one is refined or gold. So basically, okay, that's let it be. Right, so what we do here, so all these things, right, what I'm saying here, so this space is our space as a data engineering. So we'll be dealing all the data in here. So now we are at here, the raw and the our bronze. What we do, so we just simply put all the data from here to here. Okay, and now the next step. So what is this? So whatever this, right, maybe it's a file, it's a some data that we pushed it from database directly. So what we do is, right, we ingest into our staging tables. Indirectly, we store into some tables. Even we convert the files into tables or whatever the data that is coming up, we just clear as per the basic requirements and push into this trusted one or silver zone. Right. Now what happens? So now here, right? So this is a major thing here. Okay. So from here to here, so the actual business logics will come into picture, right? From trusted to silver. So we apply business logic. Okay. So and we push the data from trusted to refined, and based on the business logic that our business wants to have. See, basically, what is the business logic? Who will give this? Okay. So we have product owners basically, and they wanted to have the for data in the specific format they want because they wanted to analyze it. They wanted to create dashboards, they wanted to create reports, and maybe they wanted to feed that into their data science model or something else, right? So this is where we apply the business logic and push the data into refined our goals. Now, this this is a final entity that we create, okay? But what is a format where we store this data, right? Maybe all this. So nowadays, right, everyone is moving from on-premise to cloud. What is on-premise? On-premise nothing but any company that owns their own data center and they create it, they manage it, and they provision it. Everything is controlled by the specific company. Okay. And what is a cloud? So cloud nothing but the major cloud providers in the world. So it's like AWS, Azure, and GCP. That's we call them as a public cloud because it is accessible for everyone else, right? So so this can be done in two. Maybe you can do it in your on-premise instance or you do it in a cloud. Okay. So whatever. So basically the platforms will change, but the concepts will remain same everywhere you go, even it is on-premise or even in the cloud. So basically we put this data into something called data warehouse or data mart, right? It's not DMart, okay? Don't go that way. It's a data mart, right? Okay. So when we push this data into data mart or data warehouse, so this is for user consumption. It is ready for this to consume, right? So now with this refined or cleansed or added business value to it, so now people will go and do whatever they want on the data. So whatever they want means, so they can analyze the data and get some insights. Insights nothing but see if I take an example, okay? So if I take example of Swiggy or Zomato, right? So many of you know. So what is Swiggy and Zomato? No need to say about it, right? So most of the people will be ordering food online. So using these two apps. Maybe there are other tools as well, but just assumption we are talking about these two. So now, if they wanted to expand their business, right? What they do first thing? So they'll come to the data. Data is a basic thing or fundamental thing that they need. So how they are operating actually in the existing areas, okay, and which area they are getting extra, I mean, good orders, and which area they are getting a less or poor amount orders, right? So based on the data that we created here, I mean, where we created in this data marts, right? So this will be having entire thing about the data. It will talk about everything. What is the revenue? What are the sales? And how many delivers that we did? And maybe it's a region wise, state wise, country wise, district wise, and locality wise, right? And they'll just query it and they will get to know. So yeah, I think we are doing good at this place and we are not doing good at this place. What we need to do. So that kind of information this data will give. So that is the reason, right? Nowadays everything feels like data is oil. So oil nothing but it's very costly thing. Okay. So that's how this entire thing works in the behind when even we took a bit about the cricket scene, but yeah, this is a basic flow that happens everywhere. Maybe you are seeing some graph, I mean, beautiful graph or charts on the screens, right? Yeah, these are all the things will be going on the behind. They will collect the data, refine it, transform as per the business logics, and put into data marts or data warehouses. And this data now is now ready for the consumption. Okay, so now we understood, I mean, what is data engineering background, right? So anyone has any questions on this?
Nothing.
Okay, if there are no questions, right, I'll move on to the next topic. So what is our role? I mean, as a data engineering, so what do we do, right? So looking at this thing, right? I mean, so we have this source and we have the consumers, right? And next we have this data engineering platform. Now, what do the data engineers will do, right? I'll tell you. First thing, as a data engineering, they collect data. from source systems, right? So we do it from source systems. What is the source here? So if you talk about the cricket, so they will be maintaining some database or a file system from where we get the data. Okay. But how many data systems will be there as a source, right? So there will be many. So it's like any file system or a database or any streams, IoT devices, right? So IoT device is nothing but, you might know it, right? Do you know about it? Anyone?
Internet of Things.
Yeah, Internet of Things. So it's like, do you know an example?
Yes.
No, you must know. It's like any device that works with internet, right? It's a
Amazon
mobile
Echo,
phone.
like that.
Yeah, anything. Yes, that's
Amazon
right.
Echo.
Even CCTV
Echoes.
cameras or any
Yeah.
mobile devices or any other devices that we use,
Amazon
everything.
Echo, we will use like some
Yeah,
podcastings.
that is also. Even we use this bulbs and everything. They connected with
Yeah,
a
smart bulbs.
Wi-Fi and we
Like,
can control it from a mobile or something, right? So
right.
everything is something. Okay.
Mm.
And we have something like CRM systems. So see, I'm just giving you an example. So there are many actually. So these are just handful, I'm saying. Okay. So if you start working on a real-time system, so you'll get to know. So yeah, I know we have these many systems that we're getting the data, right? So that way. So we collect the data from the source systems like any file system, database, or CRM. CRM nothing but customer relationship management. So any company, any bank, right? So they do maintain this something. So they wanted to maintain a separate database or systems. So how they are interacting with the
Yes.
customers and everything. You must know about it.
They
Yes.
will arrange some people to some kind of customers, some so and
Right.
so
You
customers.
you
Will
must
arrange
be sometimes getting calls from your relationship manager,
relation
from your
manager.
bank
Yeah.
or somewhere. Yes, it's the same. But
For
it's just
some group of people, they will arrange one manager. They will assign one manager. Same like CRM.
yeah. See, that is correct. But you are talking about the functional thing, but in the background, right? So they will collect more data from you. So
Okay.
what is you and where are from and what are the products that you are using from that bank or any company. And if you wanted to something, right, you'll again go out to them and you'll become a prospect and they'll deal with you. And if they are successful, they'll again grant you loan or something, right? So these and everything will comes into CRM systems. They'll track everything, right? And at some point, the high level management, they wanted to analyze this data again, right? How can they do it? So in the source, right, they'll capture everything. So, but they don't want it, right? So at a high level, they want, yeah, I think in this APAC region, so how much loans that we dispersed? So how many people we are still processing, right? That much details they want. They don't want everything about you. So to make that happens or to make that available for them, so this data engineering we do it. Okay, that is one thing. So right now we have this data. What we do now? So when you collect this data, so it will be where it will be. We'll collect and put into this raw zone, right?
Yeah.
This is our first thing, right? We have the data that we wanted to hear. And now then what we do? Now here to here we push it, right? It's a staging layer. See, why do we have these two things? Because we don't want to lose this any incoming data. We just wanted to keep it as is, the source. And when it's ready, so we'll push into this. So it will be in a structured manner. See, when it is a file, right? So does it have any structure? No, right? It's just a file, right? So when I say structured, so it's nothing but a table. So maybe you must be knowing about the table, right? So maybe I'll give you an example. The structure nothing but so data which will be having rows and columns, which is having row names as well. So which will define. So what is this column value says about? It's a descriptive thing. So when I say it's non-structured or semi-structured, so non-structured nothing but is a simple file. So the flat file that we have. So maybe any notepad you are reading something, right? That one. Okay. So now the next thing. So now we put our data from here to here. Okay. So it's like we are moving from here to here. Right. Now we are here. So what is the next step? So what we'll be doing here? Huh? So this one, right? Now here few things come into picture as a data engineer. So we need to take care of few things. So we need to model our data mart. So because once we transform the data into this refined or gold manner, right? We'll be storing that somewhere so that it is consumption ready or our end user will be using it. Okay. So that's the reason. So the next things, right, for as a data engineer, what we do is we transform it, okay, by applying business logic. Right? But before this, we also do data model. But most of the companies, this data models will be having a different team again. So, okay. But anyhow, so in some small scales companies, right? So as a data engineer, so you need to take care of everything. So including you need to code it and you need to create the data model and then create the tables, load data from here to there. And then you also need to give the access to the users. I mean, there is one more thing. So as a data engineer, as his role, they need to maintain quality of the data, right? So these are all things that they do. And again, so when we develop something, so we also do the testing on the data. So whether it is as per the expectations or not, right? And also something called as right data governance or something. So we set it up basically. I mean, I'm just talking all the roles that a data engineer will do. Data governance. Though these are the different policies that we applied on the data, but as a data engineer or as your role, including this one, so the data retention will be there. So how long you wanted to store? See, right? If some data that I don't want to maintain more than 1 year, so we don't need that because we'll be unnecessarily using our data storage or the data on the cloud. So it will be cost something, right? So they will have this retention periods or archival periods so that they wanted to reduce their cost on the cloud. Okay, this is something. And now after that, what they do? So these are the basic roles that a data engineer will do. But what we are learning on this, I mean, so we understood what is data engineer, right? And what are the roles of a data engineer, right? Now, what is the next step? I mean, what we are learning on this, right? So basically, right? So in this course, we'll be teaching most of these concepts here, right? So first thing, so most of you have already gone through the brochure that we shared, right? So it has a Linux shell scripts, Linux or otherwise shell scripting, right? And the next thing we are coaching you on SQL and then programming languages Python. Okay, so these are the basic needs or you wanted to get started with this data engineer role, right? So now we start with the big data. So in big data, we discuss what is Hadoop and MapReduce and then Hive. Okay, so in Hadoop, right, we will discuss about architecture and yeah. See, most of you might have seen some other training institutes browser as well. So if you see our curriculum and their curriculum, it will be completely different, right? I'll tell you why once I finish this one. Hive and then Spark. See, this whatever I am talking about here, right? This is completely on-prem, right? right? I mean, on-prem nothing but any company's local data center. Now, what we do, maybe we also talk about AWS Cloud and the Snowflake Data Warehousing tool, which is on the cloud. Clear? So far, anyone has any questions now? I'm continuously talking about, no one is asking any questions, right? I'll stop for a minute. If anyone has any questions, you can unmute yourself and you can ask the questions. First thing, so are you following me what I'm explaining here? Do you understand what is
Yes,
data
sir. It's
engineering
clear.
and what we are doing as a data engineer, right?
Yes, sir.
I hope you are clear. So any questions you can come up. I mean, don't keep it
Yeah,
yourself. I
please
mean,
go ahead, sir. Go ahead. It's
sure,
clear.
right. So now, so why are we learning this actually, all these tools? Why can't we just learn this, whatever that is needed, right? So it's not that way. It's not way, I mean, that way will never work, right? Always you need to start with the fundamentals, right? Accept? Agree with me?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that is the reason. So why we are learning this Linux and shell scripting? The first reason is, see, when I'm talking about any file system, right? What is a file system? It's something on Windows or it is on Linux, right? But what are the companies will use? They mostly use Linux-based servers where we actually get the data. So if you wanted to go and look at the data whenever you have some issues, and you must know how to log in, what to do, and how to check it. Am I right? So that's why we have this shell scripting here. And more often, right? So the shell script and Python, right? See, even though we use this Python for our data processing here, both shell scripts and Python can be used as interchangeable. But Linux is the best thing that you can deal with any Linux operating system or Unix based or Linux based, or you might know Ubuntu or something, whatever thing. So if you know some commands, how to deal with the file system, how to query the files and everything, right? So that will add confidence and you'll be able to work on your own. But first thing. The second thing is SQL. So why we need SQL? So so far we talked about data, storing it somewhere, storing, right? And we are collecting it from somewhere. Maybe sometimes we'll also uh, source the data from databases. So when you wanted to check if the data exists or if there is a table or you wanted to see some data from the table, right? And SQL is the tool, the primary thing you wanted to query and learn about the data. See, there are many things that you can do with the SQL. Okay, we will go through everything. So it will be fun actually. So learning this SQL. Okay, you will enjoy that actually. And then Python. So why is Python basically? Why not Scala or something Java, right? Because we'll be concentrating more on the Spark, and Spark can be working with Java, Scala, Python, even our language. 4 languages that Spark support, but we chosen this Python. What is the reason? Anyone know? If anyone recently worked as currently not, that is fine. Maybe you must know something about this Python, right? So the reason is nowadays you people most of the times be hearing that, yeah, so we will be working on this AI/ML and moving our workloads into AI/ML. Will be automating something with AI/ML or ChatGPT or large language models or something, whatever. These days it's the buzzword, right? AI/ML, machine learning, data science. Basically, Python has this capability, rich set of libraries, okay, and broad community on the market. Community nothing but, so if you want any help, maybe you can go to LinkedIn and there are some groups, and you go to any internet and there are some groups, and even there are people who wanted to add extra features onto that, they can do it, right? So it has broader community, and at the same time, all the machine learning systems or large language models or ChatGPT or any data intensive processing systems, right? We use Python because Python itself comes with a lot of libraries that supports this data science related or AI/ML related or large language model related. Even though this Spark and other than Spark, it also has NumPy and Pandas, for which we can use them as data processing frameworks. That is the reason we choose this Python. And you don't need to learn any other tool again if you wanted to extend your career into data science or AML path once you are working on this one. That is the next thing for this, right? And then we talk about the big data. So we will talk very detail about the big data, basically how it works and what are the functionalities that it will provide and compared to the traditional database systems. Okay, and how we do the data processing on the cloud. I mean, this big data. Okay, so we will talk about that, and then we move into Spark. See, this Hive is nothing but a data warehousing solution. It's nothing but a database that you can assume on the big data cluster. Okay, we will talk about that again. So if you are clear on the SQL, so that will be very easy for you in Hive because we use SQL again in Hive, but it is different compared to the uh, underneath infrastructure. I mean, the logic how it executed, right? Everything will be different compared to traditional RDBMS systems. All right. Then we Spark, I mean, we'll talk about the Spark. So why Spark come into picture? And so though we have this MapReduce and Hive and some other systems or some other tools, but why everyone is using this Spark, right? That is the question. So we will talk about it and we'll go deep on this Spark. See, MapReduce and Hive. So we will talk very detail on this Hadoop. Okay, I'll tell you the reason why we are not forcing. See, I will explain you very in detail on this. Okay, and some extent on this Hive. Okay, and we will talk very detail on this Spark, and then we come into AWS. So if I wanted to use big data on the cloud, what are the solutions that we have? Okay, that's where we talk about this AWS EMR, Elastic MapReduce on uh, AWS basically. And this is a new tool that is in the trend in the market, Snowflake. So which is like a data warehousing solution. See, cannot specifically say it's a data warehousing solution because it also supports two systems, traditional RDBMS as well, data warehousing solution. Basically, this completely works with the cloud. We cannot use this Snowflake on-prem. Okay, it completely works with any cloud, AWS, GCP, or Azure. Okay, so now I come back to this. I told you we'll be talking very limited on this Hive. Okay, and this MapReduce. I'll tell you the reason. So maybe have you ever seen this MapReduce that is being used anywhere? No, but this is a basic thing if you wanted to understand how the processing works on the Spark. So that is the reason we will explain you how this MapReduce works. Okay, and what are the disadvantages that is MapReduce having? Why we are moving with Spark instead of MapReduce, right? So and even so, maybe if you look at some other curriculums, maybe right, you will be using Pig, Scoop, Flume, or some other tools, right? See, these are very legacy tools, and even if you keep them in your resume, so nobody will care. Yeah, this is open thing actually, because see, to work with the peak, it's not required. If you have this Spark, we can use RDDs and you can read any unstructured data and make into structured. The scoop is you mainly use it to import or export data from and to, I mean, RDBMS, or it will be to big data. Vice versa, we can do it. And the Flume, nothing but it's like that is streaming tool basically. It's not fully a streaming capable, but it acts like a pipe between source to destination. It will give us an environment to move data from source to destination. So we are not using these tools anyway. It's not required. Even you keep them in the resume, so nobody will care. So why do you want to discuss anyway this time? So right. So that is the reason. So we'll not be talking about this basically. Okay. And now these are all things we'll deal. So mostly these systems will be talking more on the batch processing, right? So again, if I scroll up, right, I mean here, So I talked about the stream. So how about stream? Who will teach us? No worries. So once we complete this all the course, I'll give you very brief on Kafka streaming, exactly how it works and what are the systems involved and how do we maintain these clusters and everything on the Kafka. Okay, so this is a overall thing, I think. And again, so what is the benefit that you are getting out of it, right? So we talked about few things here. So what is that we are going to learn? The data engineering. So as a data engineer, what are your roles? We discussed it. And to, yeah, to prepare, I mean, to attend, to work as a data engineer. So what are the tools you need to learn? So that we have here, that we are teaching everything that is needed. Okay. And then, so maybe, so what is a extra benefit that you'll be getting from this one, right? So, and so I'll mention few things here. So we help you with the software installations. So I know, so most of you are very new to these topics, SQL, Python, and everything, right? So we help you to install everything, or I will prepare one VM and virtual warehouse or virtual box that you can just take it and install it. So it comes with everything like Python, Linux, Hadoop, and everything, right? And the next thing, so everyday class notes will be sharing with you, and our team will post it some in the SharePoint on the or the drive, so you can use it. Okay, and if possible, we'll take an extra session in the weekend, maybe half an hour or 1 hour, so that if you are having any doubts, right, you can reach out to. It's not mandatory. If you feel like you have any questions or concerns, or if you want to learn something extra, or any doubts, or you are facing any issues while practicing, so we will take another half an hour extra session, so that make you clear on that. Okay, doubt session, I will say. Right. Cool. So anyone has any questions? I think I see a few people just joined. Maybe it's like 5 to 10 minutes back. Any questions, anyone? Please speak out actually. So I think you are very feeling like shy or something, huh? Don't need to be keep silent. I mean, right? If you interact and you ask questions, you'll learn more. And even I'll get some, you know, extra thoughts and I'll give you more again. So if you're not talking, so it's not good. It's not good for you, not for me. Okay. Hope you understood.
Yes, sir. Everything is clear. Thank you.
So, I mean, the main purpose of this demo is right. So you need to understand. So if you enroll into this session, what you will get at the end of the session, maybe after 2 months, right? So what are you capable of? So then only you will get some interest and you will be very excited to learn things, or you will practice, or you will ask questions or doubts, right? So that is the reason I took all this picture into here, so that every student will understand and he'll be very excited.
Yeah.